Well, the first time I met Herman was in Toronto, and we went and we had an amazing meal. I mean,
Yes.
you shattered my reality about the things I should be consuming for sure,
And how it should be consumed.
and how it should be consumed. That's definitely what I'm still working on. But one of the things that you did was you were able to see a lot of the problems that I had going on in my life. You were able to tell me, some pretty personal things that there's no way you knew.
Never met before.
It just didn't make sense that you would know. So when you started saying these things, I said, okay, there's something here. What is this?
Yes.
I didn't understand. It's like, how is he able to, tell that?
Yes.
So would you mind potentially doing a live reading on the webinar? But since you know me, we've got a room full of people that you haven't really
So let's bring someone else in.
Maybe I think we're gonna bring Boyer. Huh?
Want to get it on camera?
Hey, I'll vanquish my seat. So.
Okay. And we'll switch up. So you want to slightly introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody.
But don't tell them what you have.
Okay. So, my name is Boyer, and I'm here getting ready to get my first reading. I just met Herman probably an hour ago. He gave me a small little reading, kind of blew my mind for a second, so I'm ready to see what's going to happen right now.
Okay. Yeah. So whenever you're ready, I need you to keep looking straight and just breathe like how we breathe outside. So you're a very passionate guy. The heart energy is very strong. Problem is, you're not infusing that heart energy with love. A lot of your diet is making that energy go down. You got to find better food diet, and we'll help you with that. On top of that, the blood oxygen's a little low. You got to learn to breathe. You got to learn to feel the breath. Okay? Your diet, not so good. Stomach area, bowels are very slow. Maybe you eat too much oil. When you eat it, you eat too much at one time. You got to chew the food. You got to eat at more acceptable hours. Okay? On top of that, you got to watch the amount of oil in the food. You got to be very careful of that. Kidneys seems to be a little weak. You got to watch that. The more garlic you have, and the more synthetics that people buy and they eat and that have side effects, they'll take a bearing on the kidney, and you start to lose your hearing, and you start to lose your hair. Okay? On top of that, this shoulder is very, very tense, starting to lose the range of motion. You got to be very careful. Eliminate all acid from your diet. Okay? You got to be very careful with that. You have an injury right in the knee area or excessive stress right in this knee. On top of that, right by the lower spine, maybe you sit for too long sometimes depending on your job, I don't know. You're very, very intelligent, and when you focus on one thing, problem is sometimes the focus gets lost, and when it gets lost, people around you take advantage of you. Your mind is very strong, very willing. Problem with the mind, sometimes it plays tricks because darkness sets in. You gotta learn to be in control of everything you do with your breath. Everything you do in your life, you gotta be in complete control. So how accurate was that?
Honestly, that was like a 10 out of 10. I'm not even kidding. That was
I didn't touch you, correct?
No,
I didn't touch you.
Did not touch me.
Right?
Did not touch me.
Yeah.
I guess like the only mishap was like, I think it's this knee that you were talking about.
Yeah, but I'm not looking on that side.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but I know the knee's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this side bears the weight because that side has the illness or the injury. So because you don't want to feel pain, you shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why this one will take more of the weight.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you gotta be very careful with the acid. Eliminate all acid.
Okay. And on my job, I actually do sit down a lot longer than I'm standing up as well.
And it shows right by the spine. So however you sit, you gotta sit more straight. Breathe, chest out, postulate. Okay, not slouching, not sagging, right? And you want to make sure we're always straight all the time. Postulate the success. Postulate that breath. How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel so peaceful. I feel good.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey. This guy's a real deal, guys.
The seats?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'll get him on this side again.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So Herman does this professionally in Toronto, and he does a lot
And
more.
Skype.
Yeah, and Skype.
I do a lot of Skype.
Yeah.
A lot of Skype.
Actually, Carmen Munder here is just chilling in on Skype. Everybody say what's up to Carmen Munder.
What up?
Herman actually flew out, or Carmen flew Herman out to work with him in San Francisco. So that's why he graciously came down to Los Angeles to film some videos with us. Excuse me. And so now, we're filming some content. We're filming a program that is going to be available to you all very soon. You talk about form. Form is what we kind of did with that exercise.
Yes.
Speed. Now you're saying it's giving that, correct?
No. So once we master form and say the form is always like this or the form is always like that, then what we can do is say we do that 10,000 times, 10,000 times, 10,000 times. Then that's the mastery. Mm-hmm. See, people always get it wrong. They go after power because they only want to see power, but they don't realize that it's the form at a high speed or rate equals power. So we must first learn the form at a high rate, that speed, at a high rate, that becomes power. So speed is when I duplicate you, I duplicate Carmen, I duplicate Dar, Kenny, everyone in here. That's speed, because now they're all practicing the same form. Once everyone practices that same form, then we all grow collectively as a species, and then we truly learn what real power is. It's not like this, it's like this, it's love. It's right there. That's what I mean by form, speed, and power.
So somebody, the biggest thing that we want to do is open up, because you've been very exclusively working in Toronto. So we want to open up the ability for you to be known, you have the information that you share to be known, and the opportunity to work directly with you or to get a personal reading. So how can people on this webinar, because I know a lot of people are probably thinking, how can I get something like that, or what?
So you can go to thetransformationalguide@gmail.com. I mean, that is the direct way. And in that way, we can book a Skype session. And that's what I do for a lot of people because they can't fly out to me. So if they can't fly out to me, they do like what Carmen did and they get me to fly out to them. And so that's how we work. It's to absolutely get the transformation right here, live, where it's like that, because then you see exactly what you need. The problem is a lot of people don't know what you need. They follow the book. This person has a cold, prescribe this. This person has backache, prescribe that. Not realizing that does not define you, because your backache may be different to his backache. Your cold is different to her cold. And so we have to all understand that we're all different, but at the same time, we're all one. But it takes the mastery that I've harnessed all these years to understand that once we tap into that spirit and we can see it, then we know exactly what that person needs at the right time. Time and time again, all the conversations we've had, it's always about when to deliver it. And experience is the best teacher. Right?
Absolutely. So the whole purpose of the webinars that we're doing is because we want to help people master their mind. We want to help people start to fine tune, their mind so that they can actually fine tune their results and they can get better results. And that's the whole name of the game, is finding out, we spent a couple of weeks talking about finding a definite purpose, finding what you love doing. And so I think you talk about it so well, is you need to find the gift. So
yes.
How can somebody, find their gift, and why should they share that? Is that you talk about that being the essence of life?
Yes. So the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose is then to give that gift away. That is then when you harness real passion. People say, follow your passion, follow your passion. But what does that even mean? Does that mean that you're going to lie, cheat, and steal and take whoever down with you? No. That means you find a way that everyone around you can grow. That means you find a way that everyone can win. See, there's always a win-win situation, always. It just, we have the choice to make that. I want to win, but I can't win if I don't help you win first. I can't win if everyone in this room doesn't win. Why? Because that's the humility again. That's the humbleness we must have before we're allowed to be worthy of anything known as money, known as service, known as value. So we have to learn to harness that gift, follow that as a passion, give that passion away, and then when you harness and master it, known as the Kung Fu, the mastery, then you can name your price. People will pay whatever you want because you've mastered that gift so well, no one else has done it. And because we're all unique in that way, that is when you can absolutely tap into that specialness. And that's what we help develop. That's what I showed you to help develop.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. That's what we're sharing.
Yes.
So is there something that you'd like to close as a message? Because there's a lot of people that have, very similar issues, whether it comes down to their health,
yes,
their mental, but they don't see it, you know?
Mhm.
So just because you don't see something doesn't mean it isn't there. We talked about that in the past, where just because you don't see a Wi-Fi signal doesn't mean it's there. You know, just because, you know, you don't see the fog you're in doesn't
Mhm.
mean it's there. So how can everybody here on this webinar, because the whole goal is to just work so exclusively with the people that actually took the time out of their day to get on this webinar,
Yes.
how can they really make a step moving forward from this webinar to get out of that fog? Because we all, you know, a lot of us are still in that fog a little bit. You know, there's
And I
still
agree.
fine tuning that we have to do.
Well, we're never perfect, but we learn to master perfection. What does that mean? Never think you're perfect, but learn the perfection of an action. Learn the perfection of love. Learn the perfection of the gift that you must give for that passion. And so, remember how we talked about the mind, the body, and the soul?
Mhm.
Where people get wrong is they say, oh, tap into the universe and the universe will give it to you. But if this is the filter, maybe 1% got through, maybe 2%. And then when something does happen, it's a great win. But then because it's only 2%, then the next time you only get 1%. And so there's a blockage. Why? Because the universe only resonates with what? Those who embody nature. Remember I told you you have to master the mind, then the body, and the soul. The reason why the Chinese Shaolin Temple was so great and revered was because everyone was strong-minded. They said, I want to do it, I want this, I want that. But then the body failed. So that the meditation and exercises was developed that if the mind is up here, that the body can rise so that they become one. Then you tap into what's known as the soul, because then you're nourishing the soul. That's the real soul food. When you master all three together in harmony, then you tap into what's known as spirit. And that's what the animals have, the awareness. When you tap into the awareness, then you can completely say, you know what? I obey the universal laws. I obey the universe, and the universe is ready to provide and ready to serve. People do it the wrong way. They go after power, go after the universe, but they don't go after the form of how to tap into that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, a lot of people that have been following all of us, you know, here at Vibe Source, they see a lot of us share content based off of becoming vegan or vegetarian,
Yes.
at least to start it off. So why, you know,
Why vegan?
Yeah, why vegan?
So in Chinese, it's called as qi bei sum, which means the most compassionate heart. What does that mean? You resonate everything you do with a compassionate life. You live life compassionately. Everything you do in life serves the mind, the body, and the soul. But then when you do that, it's because you're not harming any form of life. In fact, you're absolutely bringing more service to life itself. Rather than pollute the ocean, give the ocean cleaner water. Don't throw that in the ocean. Don't throw plastics in the ocean. Don't throw garbage in the ocean. Find a way to absolutely tap into better service. Find a way to release that gift. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Love it. There's a lot of younger people that we all work with that just don't have the correct, you know, set of beliefs that are going to lead them to success in a quick way, in a I would say less quick, more a respectful way, you know, something that's going to benefit everybody. And so a lot of the principles, all the principles that you've shared with us, it's something that we want to share with other young people. So I think anybody that is really, you know, interested in what we're doing or anything that Herman's saying should reach out to us, you know, get involved with what we're doing, you know, share some of the videos that we're going to be launching here in 2 days, because we've got a season of content. We're going to have a video going out every single day. So hop on there and share some of the some of the content that we're posting, you know, get a couple of friends and tag them in a comment. You know, it could be so simple as something like that that can make such a profound difference in somebody's life. I look at a lot of the things in my life that have led me to where I'm at, and you know, working closely with Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher and Herman Siu and Jonathan Amaret, and I realized it didn't just happen by accident. I didn't meet these people just by accident, and I didn't, you know, attract and have all the other people attract the opportunity to partner up with Vibe Source on accident. It was something that was strategic, and it was just because I set a definite purpose in my mind of where I'm going, and then everything started to change. Everything around me started to change. And what I realized is when I met Herman, I needed to get more serious. You know, I started to slack off a little bit. I remember I swam at Michigan State for a year. I swam my whole life, and I never took many days off, because if I did, I felt it, and there was no BS about it. It was just, you have to do it. But I realized that after I got out of athletics, after I started to leave school, I didn't want to stop learning. I wanted to access more. And I looked around at so many people saying, hey, live up the 4 years that you have in school, you know, live that up, because that's all the time you have. And then you have to go into the real world, and then you have to go get an adult job. And I knew that that was not the real, you know, essence of what life is supposed to be. And so when I met Herman, like I said, I wanted to get more serious. I wanted to figure out how I could get better every single day. And that's what we stand for at Vibe Sources. Visualize yourself better every day. It's just every single day, just try to get better. And so I think to close it off, it'd be great for you to talk about the concept of credits and debits.
Okay.
Because there's too many people that I see that I work directly with when I'm mentoring them, or you know, just talking to people, and or I see it just on the street. There's too many people that have no concept of the spiritual meaning of life, and we're spiritual beings, like you said, in a physical experience.
Yes.
You know, we're not physical beings in a spiritual experience.
Correct.
But too many people have that backwards.
Yes.
Religion ruin a lot of things. So how you know, explain the credits and debits.
Can we use this book?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll slide over for you. Yeah.
So which marker would be best?
That's a good question. Probably this one.
This one?
Let's test it out. Yeah, there you go.
So in life, everybody, they don't realize that they've done a lot of wrong. They don't realize that you could always do better. And so I break it down for the left brain people who need to understand what it means to live a better life and to make that decision always better. And so people who are accountants and engineers would understand this very well. So if this was your so-called trial balance, and if you're doing your taxes right now, you kind of understand that this is the debit and this is the credit. Problem is, people each and every day maybe lie, maybe never told the truth, stole someone's time, cheated someone out of a spot, cheated the traffic lights, cheated on the diet, made sure that someone didn't know that they were lying, made sure someone didn't know that they do things behind closed doors, make sure that the boyfriend or the girlfriend doesn't know that they're talking to other girls. All these are just credits, okay? Problem is, very little debits. Now the secret is to ensure that all you do is a debit every single day. What does that mean? It means you serve the mind, the body, and the soul. Every action you take has to live by a code. I'm a gentleman. Everyone here is a lady or a gentleman because they live by a code. What does that mean? It means everything you do has to be ethical, legal, and moral. That keeps you in line to make sure that all you do is debits. And the secret to eliminating bad karma, see, karma just means action. People get that confused. Oh, bad karma, bad karma. Oh, I'm afraid, I don't believe. But it just means action. What we want is only positive action, so we get positive outlook. So if we only had debits and no credits each and every day, that's how I break it down for everybody. If each and every day, everybody only had debits, they helped a lady cross the street, they paid for someone's food, they paid for someone who didn't have much, they gave something that someone thought they would never give. All these gifts that they give, all that is just a debit. And if we can have no credits, then we have what's known as homeostasis. In medicine, that's love. That's when you're whole and you're complete. You're completely balanced, equilibrium. And so what we need to do is say, every action I do is a debit. It's conducive to longevity. It's conducive for giving back, that I'm helping grow people. I'm not burning bridges. And so we need to get rid of credits. We need to get rid of all the lies, the cheating, the stealing, all the unethical, immoral, and illegal things. We need to understand that not until we learn to make the acceptance that we do wrong and absolutely accept that, then can we truly move on. But we have to believe first, like we said earlier, belief is the strongest point. We have to first believe we're doing wrong. So we realize that maybe lying to your spouse, that maybe you know, sneaking in that bottle of wine when the doctor said no, was actually a credit and not actually a debit. Maybe what we need to do is absolutely say that I have to be accountable for me. I need to be accountable for those that I love and those that love me. So that's debits and credits.
Well, I remember the first time I saw that, it helped me kind of start to look at everything that I'm doing on a daily basis and how it's affecting, everybody around me. But I started to kind of measure this. I started to see, okay, how can I actually feel if I'm on the right track or not? Because there's a lot of times where I fell off. I started blaming other people. I started having a bad attitude.
That's all credits.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that. I just, thought, hey, I can have a bad attitude. I can think negative about somebody. I can, not pay for that because, I can't afford it or whatever, and to help people out, or I couldn't take the time out of my day. I didn't know that. So the way I gauged it, and I think this could help everybody on here, because it's easy to see this and say, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. But you have to feel. You have to feel as though every single day you're going to sleep and you did good. You know that today was on purpose. So like we talked about in the previous webinars, you have to have your purpose. You have to know your gift. What is your gift? And give it some thought. Figure out what your gift is. And if you found your gift, ask yourself, am I giving that gift every single day? And how much of it am I giving?
And here's the trick. How can you find your gift when you're on this side of the column? You're not worthy of finding your gift if you're not on this side you have to be on this side of the column to be worthy to find your gift. Well, that's where people go wrong. And that's why we need to learn to humble ourselves so that, say, I'm doing something wrong, you can come up to me man to man and say, you know what? You're doing this wrong. Try this. And for me to be humble enough to take that and take it to the next level. Always be like water. Get rid of that ego. Be humble.
Wow. If everybody, I guess moving forward, did this for an entire week, like really committed. If everybody seriously on this webinar, just if everybody could comment saying, I'll commit to this. I'll commit to actually leaving more debits than credits every single day. What would you think? In just a week, if everybody spent like 7 days seriously focusing on this, what could happen?
So I believe that once people start to open their mind up to this side, and this is so simple, this is the foundation and beginning for what future holds for what we're releasing. This is the beginning starting point for a lot of people. And so what I would highly recommend is that when people see this, don't think of it just as a debit and a credit or where does it fit? Find someone that is right for you. Find someone that you can trust to be absolutely honest with you. And don't be afraid to hear the honest truth. I know the truth hurts, but if we don't hear it, how can we move on? We'll be stuck on this side. And what happens when you're stuck on this side? There's no growth. It's like a company. A company cannot exist if there's no profit. Correct? So we need to consistently be gaining profit, and those are called merits. And so we need to have as many merits as possible. And when you pass on, if this side exceeds this side, then you know you have a better chance of achieving what's known as nirvana. And when you achieve the state of consciousness of known as nirvana, then this no longer matters because all you do is this. Because when you live by a code, you always want to leave people better than you found them. And when you start leaving people better than you found them, you start leaving the world better than you. And that's magic. That's powerful.
Well, I think for everybody that's on the webinar, if you guys could, you need a helping hand, and Herman's willing to offer that. So if you email him, it's the transformational guide at Gmail.
Yes.
Correct?
At gmail.com.
So if you guys all email Herman and reach out and let him know, what you appreciate about this webinar, because he took his time and he's very, very, very busy in Toronto. I mean, very busy. Like there's days that we don't even communicate because we're both busy.
We have other people call for us.
Yeah, exactly. But this is an opportunity unlike, anything that anybody's ever been offered to be able to work personally, because there's a lot of people that we're starting to work with and it's becoming very busy for you.
Yes.
Very busy for you. And so if everybody could reach out and just let Herman know, how much they appreciate this, because he took the time to fly all the way out to work with Carmen, who's on this FaceTime line over here, and work with him directly. And Carmen paid for it. Carmen put, he realized the price to get where he wanted to get, which was another quantum leap. Because I talked to Carmen, and I mean, him and I have been talking for a while, and he made a huge increase in his life, like massive. He took his income from where he was to, I mean, just skyrocketed. And he's, how old are you? 18, 19. So yeah, you took it from when he was 18 to when he was 19. You took it, into a big jump. He took it over into six figures when he was from his 18th birthday to his 19th birthday. So he wants to take an even bigger leap, and he realized that if he's going to do that, he's got to have professional coaching, professional guidance, and he's got to start really focusing on diet, on the thoughts he's thinking, everything. So if you guys want to work personally with Herman and get coached and really, see what it's going to take for you guys to take another quantum leap in your life, or maybe take the first quantum leap in your life, wherever that's at, reach out to him. Because
don't be afraid. Don't be shy. I mean, we're all here to help. We're all family. We're all one.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Because, I mean, we're just over an hour, so we kind of want to wrap it up. But if you want to give one last final message to everybody that hopped on here, that'd be
so what's the hardest thing for humans to do? I asked that for everybody. No one can answer. Why? Because they do not know how to let go. That's the hardest things for humans to do, is to let go. They're hurting from the person they lost. They're hurting from the money they lost. They're hurting from someone that cheated them. All of that they're holding on to. That becomes an attachment. They need to learn to let everything go and give yourself a chance to absolutely get the life you deserve, the life that you want for yourself and those that you love. Let go. Let go of everything that you thought or think or feel, and allow yourself to be like that seed, so that you can regrow from scratch, regrow and be like water. Regrow and don't be afraid. I mean, just be you. Just let everything go.
Well, the least you guys could do is just tune into the videos that we're about to be releasing, because they're about to be extremely, extremely powerful. We traveled to London, we traveled all over the world to film some stuff, and we're just getting started. So the last webinar, obviously you guys got to meet Jonathan Amaret. This webinar you get to meet Herman Siu a little bit more. And we've got a lot of content with Bob Proctor, Sandy Gallagher that we're going to be releasing. Every single thing that you do on a daily basis is ultimately going to reflect on the debits or credits. The music you listen to, the way you look at yourself in the mirror, it's all dealing with this system right here. So if you guys can start to maybe plug into these videos, these webinars more often, maybe share this with a friend. Sharing this with a friend is an easy debit. It's easy. Yeah. So spreading this information, to me, the reason why I love what I'm doing, and the reason why I get to do the things I do and travel and have a house full of people that have let me come here and stay in Venice, is because I helped share things that I've been given. Because I was in the fog, I was very recently in the fog, and I'm still getting out of that fog. And I realize I need hands to lift me out. So if you guys need a helping hand, reach out. Don't go and hang around all the people that aren't making it happen in life. Start hanging out with people that are making it happen, and you'll start to make it happen. So that's the last message I would end with. And if there's anything else,
just thank you for joining. And we got so much content getting ready to be released. So stay tuned.
Definitely. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.